What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today I want to do a quick video on the new Madden 2005 Next mod. This is version 1 of this mod. This is the same crew that has been working on NCAA Football '06 for the last couple years. For anybody who's been watching my videos, especially my Dynasty videos, you've seen me use updated uniforms on some teams and such. And they also worked on Madden '08 a little bit, and now, by popular demand, people want to see Madden '05 updated a little. So this version 1, it's mainly updated rosters and uniforms with a couple of other things to boot, and we'll talk about all of that. Now, before we head into that, make sure you look below the video in the description box. I will have links to their website. If you need help with like PC gaming in general, I got a guide where walks you through kind of what I use and such. All that should be down there for you to use. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the rosters. Here we are at the rosters page, and there they are. There's Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers. These are all the top quarterbacks in the game. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Really neat. So if you select on one of these, and you can see one of the updated uniforms right there. I really love what Buffalo has been doing lately with their uniforms the last couple of seasons. It's just really slick. But there he is in all his glory. Really neat. So we're going to back out of here, and what I'm showing you is, again, all the quarterbacks in the game, and it is sorted by overall. Now, if you keep going to some other positions, this is the same issue that they had at the beginning when they started working on '06. They get these rosters from newer games and they put them in the older games. The problem is these newer games have extra ratings that the old games don't, so they got to put that information somewhere. And so what can happen is if you go to a particular position like tight end, you get a lot more inflated overalls, like just a lot of tight ends in the 90s in this game. Now, I know the tight end position is super important in the NFL. I don't think there's that many good tight ends in the league, but you're going to start seeing just a little bit of that. It's not a game breaker by any means, so I wouldn't take it that it's just not going to, affect your game a whole lot. But I do want to point that out a little bit. Now, there are a couple of other positions. I think the defensive line has a bit of an issue. It's always defensive ends has the issue. Look, all these 99 left ends. You look at the right ends, a lot of 99s. Then you go to defensive tackle, same way as well. And maybe the free safety position was the other one. I don't think there's that many good free safeties in the league. I could be dead wrong, though. Either way, that's not going to affect too much. The cool thing is we got somebody out there that's apparently working on making this roster even better. I don't know if he's going to update this type of thing or if he's going to update contracts, was another thing they've updated. I'm not really sure, but I'm sure he is going to at least make things a little bit better. And speaking of contracts, they have touched this at least a little bit. I don't know what they've technically changed. I don't know if this is accurate or not. I can't tell you that Russell Wilson's inflated contract is tried and true, as you can see right there. But either way, really good job of what they've done here. It's just really neat that we can finally use some of these updated rosters in one of our favorite games for the Madden, and that is '05. Now let's talk about textures and uniforms and such. If you go to play now, we can look at uniforms. Starting off with my favorite team, the Bengals. You go here and you look at the options, and there is their new default home uniform. Really good looking. I just love the update in general, the default away. And some teams, like the Bengals, have a ton of alternates. Other teams don't have hardly any. But that's really neat. If you go to another team like the Bills, again, we've looked at this earlier. Those are the new uniforms for them. Just really good. That's my favorite combo right there of theirs. You go to another team. How about like the Chargers is another one. If you remember the old logo, now they've updated, give it a brighter blue, things like that. And there you go. That is their updated uniforms. Then they got the real old school stuff in there, which is still pretty neat. We can go to a few other ones. How about the Falcons? I know that's a big update from what the original game had. There you see there the default home and away. Then you got some alternates. That looks really cool. You go out and look at some other ones. The 49ers is another one. If anybody who's a 49ers fan or remembers them back in the mid-2000s, they had some really weird uniforms, especially around their numbers. They had like black borders around the numbers, and I never liked it. They went back to what they had before, and now it looks really good. So that looks just really neat there. I thought they'd done a good job there. We could go to another team, the Jags. Let's see, Lions, Packers. The Patriots, I think, had a bit of an update as well. I think that looks pretty slick. Pretty good there. You go Raiders. Let me think. The Rams, this is completely, they got new logo and everything. So you select them and you look, and boom, there are their new updated uniforms. Just really neat. Then they got some really weird combos. I'm not sure what happened there. But either way, I think that's all really cool, and kudos to whoever worked on some of this stuff. I know that takes a lot of time and effort to make that look really slick. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is some of the textures. Like if you go to the stadium, and let's go to the Rams stadium. Now, this is probably not going to be a good example of this because this is not the newer stadium that they have. I'm going to go ahead and do the preview stadium anyways. I just wanted to show you the updated end zones, the midfield logo. That's where the rest of the texture pack comes in. Now, I think this is really cool. Really good looking logo there. You go over to the end zone, really slick. I love it, every bit of it. Now, I'm not a Rams fan, but I like their color combo and such. Now, oh my gosh, they actually updated it. Wow, they did that. Whoever done that, good job. See, there is SoFi Stadium. Wow, I was dead wrong. Really neat. So you look out, and this is their updated stadium. Before, it was when they was in St. Louis back in the mid-2000s, they had just, I forgot what that dome was called. It didn't look anything like this. So that is a really good update. That is really cool. I'm glad I caught that. So I wanted to show you that. The last thing I wanted to show you before we talk about the couple other updates is the texture pack itself. And for those of you who are not really familiar with this, and hopefully you can see this, if you go to, this is my PCS X2 folder. You have a textures folder. When you click on the textures folder, you got different folders for each game. So this SLUS 21214, that's NCAA Football 06. The 21,000 one, this is Madden 05. And here is where you got all of the team information. For example, you go to Atlanta, you go to their home folder, and this is where you can adjust some things and such, which is really cool. As you can see here, you can zoom in and whatnot. And again, I can't imagine how much work it takes to do a lot of this stuff. So you go back to the general folder. This is what I really want to show you. So you go to like the broadcast. There is the Sprint logo. I'm sure they put that in various places. Of course, this is their main logo. We go back. You can go to controller. There was a folder in here. This is for the white PlayStation buttons if you like those. I took them out because I like the colored ones. You go to franchise mode. This is really neat. Like you go to the East and West Shrine game. Here are the updated uniforms for the East and the West. It's really neat there. You go to the off season. This is updated hamburgers and beers and hot dogs. This is when it comes down to owner mode, which is a really neat feature. I think they introduced owner mode in 05, if I'm not mistaken. You go to the office folder. They just got new things to here. You know, like the new news logo, things like that. Gear, you can select this, and you know they got updated gloves. Just the little things that just kind of go a long way for a lot of people. Initial screens, logos, menu. That's just more next stuff. Stadiums. This has got different kinds of grass if that's important to you. Again, they just updated just a little bit of things that make this game even better than what it was. And the last couple of updates was they have compatibility with NCAA 06 Next draft classes. So for anybody who uses the 06 mod, I don't use that now. I will maybe down the road. But you can take those draft classes and import them into this game to get them compatible with rosters and such. And then the last update they had was the updated 25-yard line touchback starting location. All that is on their website. Again, that's in the link in the description below. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is just kind of my plans for 05, and I'm going to put this in the comment section below, is I plan on doing a lot of tutorial stuff with this. I'm not really interested in doing a franchise or nothing. I'm more of a recruiter than I am, you know, trying to draft and trade and such. But I love going into playbooks. The last couple of weeks, I've been playing 05 on the back end, just playing around with things. And the reason why I picked 05, one reason was this is the game I played a lot back then. And two, this is the defensive-oriented of the bunch. So if you could be an offensive whiz in Madden 05, then you must be pretty decent. That's something I want to try to achieve. So if I do any more 05 stuff, it is going to be playbook-oriented things. And which is, again, Madden 05 was the last one that lets you create your own playbook and use it in franchise mode. So that's another thing I know I'm going to have a blast with. So that's kind of my plans for that when I have time, when you mix all that stuff with my 06 stuff. All right, hopefully you enjoyed all that. You know, give a shout out to the guys who've been putting a lot of work into this stuff. And if you have the capability of playing this, test it out, enjoy it. I'm sure you'll get something out of it. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.